Shane van Gisbergen ran inside the top 10 for almost the entire Martinsville race and still didn't finish there, and he's not happy about it. That is the massive narrative conflict that sparked absolute outrage after the checkered flag dropped at the iconic paperclip. How exactly does a champion driver put together such an impressive run only to suffer a gut punch in the final moments? It absolutely pisses him off, and rightfully so, because he knows he had the car to do it. Let's start with qualifying, where the wild weekend truly began to take shape. Shane grabbed a brilliant starting spot after laying down a blistering lap that turned heads all up and down the pit lane. The secret to this newfound speed was his massive dedication to mastering left-foot braking. For a guy who has spent his whole career using a completely different pedal spacing technique, this adjustment is unbelievably difficult. When you are carrying immense speed into a tight corner, you have to downshift flawlessly while squeezing the brake pedal, just enough to rotate the car without spinning out. It requires absolute precision and muscle memory that takes years to build. Yet Shane nailed it. He explained how he struggled initially but spent countless hours in the simulator, refining the left-foot braking process until it felt natural. This technical mastery allowed him to attack the entries of the corners with a level of aggression we simply have not seen from him on an oval before. When the green flag waved to start the race, that qualifying speed immediately translated into race pace. During Stage 1, he methodically worked his way through traffic, showing the patience of a seasoned veteran. He was not just riding around hoping to survive, he was actively passing cars and collecting valuable stage points. He finished Stage 1 firmly inside the top 10, proving that his short-track program has taken a massive leap forward. Then came Stage 2, where the intensity ramped up even further. Shane continued his impressive march, navigating the inevitable Martinsville chaos with incredible poise. He was squeezing into tight gaps, rubbing fenders when necessary, and holding his ground against some of the most aggressive drivers in the field. By the end of Stage 2, he had once again secured critical stage points, cementing his status as a legitimate contender for a solid finish. The team radio was buzzing with positive energy as his crew chief praised his flawless execution and tire management. But as anyone who watches this sport knows, the final act at this track is always a completely different beast. Then came Stage 3. This is where the narrative shifts from a triumphant underdog story to a frustrating lesson in late race execution. The field bunched up and the strategy games began. Several teams attempted an undercut to gain track position, forcing Shane's crew to make split-second decisions on the pit box. They opted to keep him out slightly longer, hoping to capitalize on fresher rubber for the final run. Initially, the strategy seemed to be working perfectly. Shane was carving his way back through the pack, utilizing that left-foot braking technique to dive deep into the corners and clear slower traffic. He easily dispatched a lapped car that was holding up the leaders and set his sights on the top 5. However, the race completely turned on its head on lap 312. A sudden debris caution flew, erasing all of the gaps and setting the stage for a series of wild restarts. This is exactly where the frustration truly boils over. Restarts at Martinsville are famously brutal, resembling a high-speed traffic jam, where everyone is fighting for the exact same inch of real estate. Shane, who had been so incredibly smooth during the long green flag runs, suddenly found himself exposed in the chaotic double-file restarts. He struggled to get the power down on the exit of turn, to spinning his rear tires and losing precious momentum. Competitors aggressively shoved him out of the preferred groove, forcing him to overdrive. The entry to Turn 3 just to stay side by side. It was a massive learning curve unfolding in real time under the most intense pressure imaginable. He lost 3 spots on the first restart and another 2 on the subsequent caution period. The Raw driver quotes after the race paint a vivid picture of a man who is extremely mad at himself. He openly admitted that his inability to launch effectively cost the team a guaranteed top 10 finish. He was visibly upset, pacing around his car and shaking his head because he knows how rare it is to have a car capable of running at the very front of the pack all day. Now, let's talk about what this all means in the grander scheme of the season. While Shane is frustrated, his performance must be viewed alongside the race winner and the heartbreak suffered by other top contenders. Elliott managed to survive the late race restarts to claim the victory, showcasing the exact type of veteran craftiness that Shane is currently trying to absorb. Meanwhile, Hamlin experienced utter heartbreak after a pit road penalty derailed his dominant run proving that even the absolute best in the business can fall victim to the unforgiving nature of this historic short-track layout. When you contrast Shane's qualifying time this year versus his previous attempts, the Rapid, improvement is mathematically undeniable. He shaved critical tenths of a second off his lap times, showcasing an evolutionary leap in his oval racing intelligence. When comparing him to his teammates, he completely swept the floor with them, running consistently higher in the running order, logging significantly better average lap times throughout the entirety of the grueling event. This brings us to the highly critical chase format point battle. Despite slipping out of the top 10 at the finish, the sheer volume of stage points he accumulated early on has kept his championship hopes incredibly vibrant. He remains a fierce underdog who is quietly building a robust points cushion that will serve him well as the season progresses toward the playoffs. NASCAR insiders and podcast hosts are taking serious notice of this unbelievable trajectory. Expert validation has been pouring in all week, with analysts unanimously agreeing that his raw talent is off the charts. They emphasize that while his late race, restart execution needs, polishing the fundamental speed and racecraft are already operating at a championship caliber level. One prominent host noted that watching Shane adapt to these vastly different disciplines is like watching a grandmaster learn a new version of chess on the fly. The foundation is there, and once he figures out the subtle nuances of oval restarts, he will be an absolutely unstoppable force. This validates the extreme outrage and passion surrounding his Martinsville performance, because fans and critics alike realize they are witnessing something truly special unfolding before their eyes. Even though his team struggled at times to give him the perfect adjustments on pit road, his individual effort carried the entire operation on his back for hundreds of grueling laps around the tightest track on the circuit. It is perfectly understandable why he feels a lingering sense of disappointment. But this run was an undeniable statement to the entire garage area that he belongs here. He is not just a road course ringer anymore, he is a phenomenal all-around stock car talent who is rapidly evolving into a weekly threat. The lessons learned during those brutal Stage 3 restarts will undoubtedly be analyzed, dissected, and corrected before the next green flag waves. The Cup Series takes the Easter weekend off, then heads to Bristol on April 12th. Another short track, another test. With 19 races left and road courses still to come, the championship is alive for the number 97. He will take this massive outrage, channel it into pure motivation, and arrive at the next event more prepared than ever to conquer the steep banking and relentless chaos that defines this demanding sport. The rest of the field better watch their mirrors closely because Shane is coming for redemption, and he is hungry for a dominating victory very soon indeed.